Now suppose if you're a meat eater and you like beef, and beef is the only thing you ate. If the price of beef goes up, well, you got to pay for it. However, suppose you have a choice. You can eat beef, you can eat chicken, pork, and fish, or heck, even pasta. If you have a diverse choice, you're less victim to the price of a single entity beef. So what we want to do is diversify the source of transportation energy. If you look at the anticipated demand in developed countries, United States, Europe, Japan, Korea, it's actually not going to go, it's not going to increase that much, mostly because of the increased efficiency. If you look at the movement ahead in cars and trucks and airplanes, dramatic increases of efficiency. So even though you're having more miles traveled, and but the population is relatively flat, the demand will be flat. The growth is in developing countries, notably China, India, followed by Brazil and others. We sold roughly 12 million cars last year in the US, China over 16. In a couple of years, there'll be 20 million new cars a year. And that increased demand is going to be driving this. Now, what about the supply? Well, we're getting better at squeezing the amount of oil out of rock. It used to be 5 and 10, 20%. Now, routinely, with enhanced oil recovery, we can get over 50% of the reservoir out. And that will increase. It may be increased to 70%. In special reservoirs, it's already there. But we have to go further afield to find this oil. The standard reservoirs we are using today are being depleted. And so you're going to be exploring new reservoirs, and you're going to Arctic regions. You're going to deep offshore, where fracking rock, that's a large part of why the oil production in the U.S. is increasing. So those new technologies cost more money. But they're getting better. So the cost of production, we don't really know. We think maybe roughly flat, maybe a slight increase. It's the demand side. Now, there's one thing I have to tell people. If you develop an Arctic or deep offshore, it's a lot of money, and it's a lot of time. 5, 8 years to get it going from the time you start to explore. And actually, even after you found exploring, it's going to take at least 4 or 5 years. A deep offshore platform, $5 billion. $5 billion for one of these big platforms. So what you do is you build, and once you invest $5 billion or $1 billion into Arctic, you produce as much as you can. You also do not want to be having this asset of 5 or 3 or whatever $1 billion just sitting there idle. That means you want to skate in and use as much as you can to bring in the highest prices you can. And what does that mean? Well, if economies go up and down, the amount of spare capacity is going to go down. And so I'm afraid you'll see more of that. And that's why it's so important to diversify. You know, to be able to use pork and chicken and pasta.